All right, what is up, guys? Let's talk about some volume and volatility. I'll show you here on Discord what I'm talking about. I know a lot of you are interested in this method that I've been talking about recently after I set up this channel for you. Basically what happens is we're tracking all Binance futures. I'm going to show you how to set up the whole system to where anybody can do this. Even with spot plays, you can do this. But it really works better with leverage, but I'll show you here in a second. So what we're looking for a long is I've got a alert set up here. And I'm going to take my time with this, by the way. You know, you may want to skip ahead if you've already seen these things, but I just want to make sure everybody understands this. So right now I've got it set to send us a Discord alert if any token goes up by 30% in the last 24 hours on Binance futures. And the reason why I did it that way is because if it's on Binance futures, then whatever exchange you're using, there's a chance you may also have access to the leverage trading option for that as well. But again, you can do this on spot as well. I mean, Bless, that token from yesterday went up 400%. So you could have made like a 3 or 4x on that one. So not bad at all for spot. And then we also have a rule where if a token goes up at least 100%, and this is more of an engineering robo rule, but I'm going to show you how to use free indicators to also play it. So if a token goes up 100%, then you start watching for a reversal. You start watching for, a trend reversal where it's going up, even if it's temporary, it's going up, 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 gets over 100% in the last 24 hours, and then it starts to reverse. And we're going to try to find those indicators that will help you do that, even if you don't have the money for engineering robo. So that's the two things you're watching for here. There's also a thing where it tells you when a token is listed on, like right here, a yield basis has been listed on Binance. But that's, it may be good information for you, it may not. But typically when things get listed, I don't know, some of them go up and then go down, but after they get listed, shortly after, usually they go down first, and then maybe they go up again later. Okay, so I'm going to look at some that are current. Actually, we'll look at Bless first. It is the most current one. So 10:55 a.m., it's up 135%. And that would have been, find it, 10:55. Been right there, actually. Did that go up? No, anyway. Yeah, it did reject perfectly, so that would have been a good time to short it anyway. But the real short was way up here. So yeah, let me get you set up on the indicator. I've told you about this indicator before, but it's called, you can type in the ARDI like that, and it's right here. Or you can type in the Phoenix. Phoenix is harder to spell. And it's just quote unquote the ARDI, the moving average official indicator by Phoenix Binary. It has 11.7K likes right now for this indicator. All right, and then you add it to your chart here. Currently, I'm on the 15-minute. So you have this big move, and things are very volatile. When I talk about volatility, I'm talking about a lot of volume coming in and things going vertical, or things just dropping, really quickly. That's volatility. And so what we want to do is we want to try to take advantage of that volatility to the upside and to the downside. You got to play this one, twice, for a long and for a short. So if we open up the Phoenix or the ARDI, whatever you want to call it, make sure you've got exponential selected here. Don't worry about this top one and bottom one. What you want is 21 and 51 in these two boxes. And then you can select solid, or you can select dynamic. And what that does is, as things are bullish, the line is going to be green. As things turn bearish, it turns from yellow. It gives you a caution color here. And then it turns completely red, and that tells you it's bearish. And so you can see the 21 EMA is the fast one. That's the one that's going to be closest to price action the whole time. Now, if you're very aggressive and you want to take profits as soon as you get a candle close below this 21 line, it's not a bad strategy at all. It probably gets you out near the top. But on a 5-minute chart, let me just check something here. Yeah, 5-minute chart respects it pretty well. So in this case, if you were watching the 5-minute chart and that's what you should have been doing at the beginning, you want to be buying every time it touches this line. That's the 21 line I'm talking about. And then as soon as it closes below it, you probably want to exit your position. You would have been out pretty close to the top. But we're not worried about catching the whole move, right? I mean, so here's the first alert. Where did my alert go? Okay, right here. So here's our first alert. 10:54 yesterday, my time. Bless went up 39% in the last 24 hours. So here's what we saw at the time. That alert came in about somewhere in here. So that means it kind of started calculating it somewhere in here. And it said, okay, it went up 30%. So here's why this is really important. When you get the 30% signal, it doesn't mean you should automatically buy. As you can see, this one came down and touched the line. So again, when you have these set up correctly, and I'm going to change it back to solid lines. So our white line, in this case, I have the 21 as the white, the 51 as the blue. So our white line is the one on the 5-minute chart. Remember, we're on the 5-minute. I'm not on any other chart right now, so pay attention to this. Anytime it touches that white line, consider taking a long. If for some reason it falls below it, then you would buy when it hit the blue line. But if it fell below that blue line, then the trade's probably coming back down to here. So it's not that there's no risk involved. I'm going to show you one here in a second that did a 30% move and then it failed. So that's going to happen sometimes. You're going to take some losses. Keep your stop losses tight. Maybe if you were, I'll show you exactly how you could have played this. So alert comes in. You see that you're starting to get some indecision here. The candles aren't staying green, solid. They're starting to turn red. So now you're watching for this 21 line, and you can color it whatever you want to color it. You can change the colors right here if you want. It almost touched the line there. You could have taken a position, but it faked out. Actually, what happened here was the candle went down first here and then went up. That's what this candle body means because it's green. So this is where you could have taken the position right there. But look how long that happened. You would have had to been very patient for this trade. That's 35 minutes. So kind of consider that could be, 30 minutes to an hour could be the time that you have to wait between a signal and the next bottom. Just keep that in mind. It could just keep pumping though. Maybe it comes way up here and then it pulls back. But if it would have kept going like that, then usually you're going to get a more violent pullback. So, keep that in mind. If this would have, done a 100% move immediately, then it probably needs a cool off period and it could come back down to the 50, the 51 line instead. And I know I'm throwing a lot of things at you, just rewind, go back and listen to it again if you need to. I'm just kind of going through the things that I'm thinking as I try to teach this to you. So let's see, what else do I want to say about this? Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. I mean, you're buying when it hits the 21 line because it's the fast line, and it's not going to get weak until you get a candle body close below the white line. So you saw the weakness. This was kind of a warning right here, right? It fell below the white line, and then it touched the blue line. So the first time it touches the blue line, the 51, that's sometimes a good time to take a long as well. But it's a little bit more risky because it tells you that things are getting weak. And so you saw, a couple hours later, it completely fell under the 51 line. And then now it becomes resistance. So not only can you play this as a long, but once the play has kind of fizzled out and it's starting to go sideways, then you start watching for candles to close below both lines. And now you take a short right there. So here you were above both lines. Here was some warning signals here because it was touching the 51 that's showing weakness. Comes up one more time to fake out, and then it closes below both lines. And you could have waited here. You don't have to take this trade immediately. You can wait and see if it's going to retest it first. And then that's a great place to take a trade right there. Because not only are you, verifying that it's not going to go up again, but this is a very strong support level right there. If you were to draw a line right here, kind of like a head and shoulders right there. There's also a line down here as well, but there's one here. So it rejected that line perfectly. And you got a little fake out here. I mean, this is going to happen sometimes where you get fake outs back above the line. You could have exited the trade there and just re-entered once it closed below it. But these little fake outs happen a lot. But when things are going down, you're going to flip it. So now the 51 is going to be the one that you take a short on. So if you missed all of this, if you missed every bit of this trade, then you just wait and wait and wait. You could even put an alert here. Where's it at? Add alert. Okay, so yeah, add alert on the Phoenix. And this would be anytime it touches this line, I believe. Any alert function call. If it puts a timer on this line, then I know it's working. I don't show that it did though. I'd have to test this, but test this alert and see if it works. All you got to do is right click on the alert and then hit add alert. I'm not sure if this is right or not though. Maybe, yeah, you could put crossing. The Phoenix MA2. Okay, so this is how you would do it. Oh wait, no, that's not it actually. Anyway, I'd have to mess with this. I'm not sure that I have it right or not. But anyway, if the alert was to work, then even if you missed this one, it would tell you as soon as it touched this blue line, and that would be a short signal for you right there. But of course, this thing's come down a lot. So just be careful if something's come down a lot. It could flatten out and start turning back up. I mean, you want to try to get a short within 20% of the top if you can. Yeah, 20 to 30% of the top. If you can get that after a huge move like this, which would have been right here, you would have taken a short probably, even if you missed all these, then you still would have made a ton. I mean, look at this. Even if you were late. I mean, there is a way to play momentum plays as well. So here's how that would work. If you don't want to try to be catching bottoms, buying the bottom, then just wait for this breakout right here. Let me get rid of this. So our alert came in there, it dipped, and now all we're waiting for is a break above this 5-minute rejection candle right there. So you would have bought somewhere here as long as you had decent volume coming in. And you did. You had massive volume coming in there. A bunch of green candles of volume. And your trend lines are still moving up. Everything's looking really good. Jump around as things are moving. Check the 15-minute chart. Of course, this is a longer time frame chart. You probably wouldn't check this until the move had developed a little bit more. I mean, you could even check the 1-minute chart and just see if there's any information you can glean. Just understand that on the 1-minute chart, things bounce around a lot more. They're more choppy. So, it's going to hit this blue line and go through it sometimes. So that's really why 5-minute works the best when something's volatile like this. And so, the 21, remember, as things are going up, the 21 is your buy area. As long as candles are staying above that 21, you're buying every time it touches the 21. And then if a candle body closes below the 21, then you can just go ahead and take profit there. And then get ready to take a short as soon as it continues to show weakness. And when things flip to being short, things flip to being bearish on this token, then now your 51 line is the rejection area. Your 51 line is the place that you take a short. So hopefully that's clear. There are some other things you can do here with this. It really is a great indicator. I've showed it before to you, but some of you may not have seen it yet. Let's see here. So I talked about, you can change these to dynamic. They go green when everything is moving up, and then it turns yellow and red as things roll over. But you can also do this. I think I'll do maybe a small dynamic. You can turn off the lines and just use this dynamic indicator. And as it stays green, you know, it got a little bit less green here telling you a warning, and then it turned completely red right here. I don't really like that one as much. Let me see what else they have. This one's a small solid. That one's better. See how it respected the bottom of that cloud right there the whole way? And then it closed below the cloud right there. That's where you take profit. So play around with these. I mean, there may be one that you like more than just using the lines. I prefer the lines, really. Here's a big one that includes the 51 line as well, but I don't like that one because you can't see it. Anyway, you can hide that and just turn on your remember, it's exponential moving average. Use the exponential one right here. Okay. Let's see what else. But you can see here, you know, we got the alert at 1054. It went up 100%. We got another alert saying that it was up 100%. Here's another one, 126. So, you know, this thing will keep telling you as things go up here. And even today, it went up some more after no. I don't know why it posted this. It really shouldn't have, because that didn't really tell you any information. But anyway, you get the idea. I may have to think about how to adjust that alert so it doesn't, because the thing is, this really didn't go up 135% today. It actually went down from 211% over those last 24 hours. It just keeps checking every 24 hours or every hour to see if there's at least 100% move. Okay, what else do I want to show you? Okay, so let me show you a failed one. I want to show, oh, well, there is one more thing I want to show you. Hang on. So going back to Bless really quick. If we look at a daily chart, and it's always important to go to the high time frame, we can see where our levels of resistance are here, and we can mark them if we want. So, you know, this is where anytime it rejected. So now we go to the lower time frames and we see where that's at, and we probably got a rejection near that area. It could have happened near this wick too, though, or this wick. So we'll just have to see. Let me actually check that. I'm going to put a couple of different lines here, and I'll delete the ones that aren't important. I just want to see where it rejected and all that, or where it held support. Yeah, so there's a rejection. There was a little bit of a rejection there, but it ain't anything to write home about. This one was important. That one was important. This one was important, I think. Yeah. So if we go back to daily, here's the ones that were important. So yeah, right there, it's all-time high. Although this is, you know, really this is the true all-time high right there. But this was a candle body rejection right there. So this is a wick rejection, candle body rejection. Surprised this one didn't give us one, or this one, but you know, it didn't. But if I go to a little bit lower time frame, I just want to point out why this rejected right here. Look how, you know, before, way back here, well, way back here, it wasn't that long ago, October 7th, this thing came up here and created a head. So here's a shoulder, here's a shoulder. It created a head, and then it fell through that, and it rejected it right there. And we see that a lot. It's a pattern that happens a lot. But because it rejected there was an order block remaining where, you know, maybe people bought there and never sold, whatever it may be. And then it created some, you know, maybe people put some sell orders there, and that's why that was happening. So if we go back, we know this is the line we were just talking about, right? If we go back to our 5-minute chart, so we got our 30% alert, and then it dipped, right? And the reason why it dipped is because that resistance was there. So now I'm going to show you the one I was just about to show you, and show you why that happened on HEI yesterday. Let's pull all of our HEI signals here. I mean, look at that. HEI did a 493% on the 11th of October. I hate that I missed that. But what happened with it? Actually, let's go back and look at that, because that'll be interesting. So we never actually, I must have set up the alert later, the 30% alert. I must not have had it active on 10/11. Hey, what happened there? Why is it doing that? Okay, so we're grabbing this, I think. Yeah. All right. Here we go. HEI, it went up 38% yesterday. Actually, let's go back and look at this other one first. 1011. Where's 1011 at? Oh, okay. This was the day that, right after the crash, or the day of the crash. Yeah, the day after the crash. Okay. So this gave us a signal at 4:56 on the 11th. I guess it was this little move. That's weird. Did it? Oh, it must have come up 40. Okay. Yeah, so it came from way up here. I don't really count this one because it was after that big crash. Yeah, let's not even pay attention to that. So let's just look at this one. So it went up 38% in the last 24 hours. This was at 115 just yesterday. Yeah, so 115 right there. Okay, I'm going to delete that so it's not in the way. So let's just look and see where our resistance areas are first. And we can go to like, if there's enough information, we can go to the daily. Okay, so there is, see right here, there's a support level, although you could use this as well. So support is sometimes resistance on the way back up. I kind of like this one better because there's more support there, but you could use this one for sure. And then this wick definitely is one as well. I like this wick as well. Maybe we'll just push this up to this. I kind of like that actually because I've got wicks touching here. That's close enough. All right, let's jump down to the 5-minute. Let's look at where our alert happened and what happened overall. So the alert happened here. It ended up being a fake out or a top, a temporary top anyway. I do believe this one's going to go up again, but it's just taking a while. I tried to take a position last night, but it didn't work out. But this little flush that it had right here, that could have been the bottom. So currently it's kind of in the same area. I wonder if it did that before. It's interesting. Go back to the daily. Yeah, it did a move like that before right here. Things went up and then it came back down and did a higher low. So could we see something similar? Let me mark a couple other things here. I think we've got another possible rejection area here. I mean, it doesn't hurt to, to go back and mark these things if you're waiting on this token to make another move. It's really smart to do this. We can actually see on the daily that this thing rejected the 51. Remember the 51's the blue line? Yesterday I'm going to take off this line so you can see it. Yesterday it almost touched that 51 perfectly. So this is another thing to watch. Go to a high time frame while it's pumping and see if there's any rejection areas. I mean, it could have rejected right there at the 21 as well. But remember, when things are bearish, it's more likely to come back and touch the 51. So that would have been an amazing short right there. Look at that. If you would have had the hindsight to look at the daily chart, even if I wonder if the 3-hour, well, 3-hour wouldn't have worked. But you can see what we've got here, right? So on our 3-hour chart, we've got touches of the 21. I mean, I think this thing is coiling up for a move. And if we compare it to something like Bless and just see what Bless looked like at the same time, what are we on the 3-hour? I don't know, may have to go up to like a 6-hour or a daily even, just to get a better idea what things look like here. Yeah, not all these are in the same exact position on their chart. I just like to kind of look at this and see if I can catch a pattern that they're doing on a higher time frame. I mean, it rolled over and it closed below here. It swept these lows, so yeah, I do believe it's going to have a nice little move coming back up. Let me see here. So a rollover there, but it didn't sweep the lows on this one. It just took off. And just bear with me for a second. I mean, you can put trend lines like this on these tokens, and then if you get a break above the trend line, then it's really bullish. And here will be your trend line for this one, something like that. So it's pretty high up there, though. That's the only issue. I like these lines better though, because like, see how this? Okay, I'm actually seeing a nice little pattern here. I'm not going to look at Bless to compare it, but notice how, and I'm even going to take that off. Notice how this wick that I marked is currently our resistance. So here's how you could play HEI currently. Now, I've got all my lines set up, at least in the near term. You know, I do like these. You could definitely do more. You know, for sure mark one of these higher ones like this. Is that not working? Okay, there we go. What else? Is there one here? I think there's one there somewhere. So these could be areas where it would resist on the way up, or it's areas where it might blow through and then use as a support when it comes back. And then you could marry that with your 21 EMA, you know, as a place to buy some more possibly. So if we look at, we'll just go to the 5 minute. Okay, so, oh, actually this thing's trying to get bullish right now, isn't it? That's interesting. So we're above the 21 EMA. That's good. That's what we want to see. But, you know, just because this thing's getting volatile right now doesn't mean that it's going to pump right away. You know, it could come back down and touch these two lines. But here's your resistance, and you're above it. So if you get a 5 minute candle closing above that resistance, then I think you're looking pretty good. Double bottom. Not really seeing anything else. I mean, you could do this. I think I was talking about that though. It'll break through this eventually. There's another one probably here. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Perfect. So here's our breakout. I think it's ready to go. So, you know, on the way up, use those same rules that I was telling you about. It'll help you a lot. This is how to do it without engineering robo. You know, with engineering robo, it's pretty easy. You just do the buy signal. You wait for the 5 minute candle to close. You got your buy signal. It could dip down some. But yeah, I mean, this thing's looking really good so far. But it needs some time to play out, I think. You know, I was zoomed in pretty close here. You know, you're thinking, wow, this thing looks great. But here, let me turn off engineering robo. But, you know, it's just now starting to get back above here. I think there's another rejection area here. So maybe it comes up to here and then comes back down. You know, it needs to develop a little bit more support, I believe. If you go to like a 15-minute chart, you always jump around. If you go to the 15-minute chart, you're rejecting off the 51 right now, the 51 EMA. So, you know, if you were to jump in right now, it could come back down still. So give it some time. I mean, if you were to look at engineering robo here, it's still under a sell signal. 15 minutes pretty good to use at the beginning, you know, when you're just trying to figure things out or go up to the daily 3 hour or whatever. But when things get really volatile, you need to switch to the 5 minute. But what I'm seeing at minimum on this one, and I think it's going to do better than this, but you'd at least come up to here on this move at 28 cents, probably more like 33 cents on the first really big move, you know, like this. And then if it gets past 33, then it's really going to pump. I think that's right. Look at your daily chart and find out where the most resistance is. Usually your most resistance is going to happen at areas that they were, you know, buyers and sellers were fighting for a support resistance line. So that would kind of be this one, because see, it was support here, it was resistance there, it broke through it, and then it fell back through it again. So I think the line in the sand, once it starts moving back up, is going to be about 33 cents. If it closes above that, then you're going to see much higher numbers. If we bring Bless in and just kind of look at the same idea, this is why it's helpful to do lines and stuff, because it's going to help you be more confident with your trade. maybe 3 hour. I mean, it's kind of the same idea as what's happening with HEI right now. It looks really similar to this, and then it broke above both lines there like that. In fact, sometimes you can look at higher time frames compared to lower time frames and see very similar very similar patterns. So you got a flush there, you got a flush there. It came back down, kind of made a double bottom there, not quite, and then it took off. Of course, this is a 3 hour chart, so don't expect this thing just to take off immediately. I'm just comparing the structure of these two, charts. So I've got a 5 minute here and I've got a 3 hour over here. It's completely different. It's going to take more time. Yeah, I'd say this wick is probably, well, it has to be that wick because that just happened, didn't it? Or no, that wasn't the big dip, was it? So on this one, this was the big dip, and on this one, it just did it on its own on the 16th. Oh, today. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm trying to show you some of the things that I watch for here. And in the moment, it's hard to be patient. But if you really take time to understand, sorry, I got the wrong one here. If you take time to understand where your resistance levels are, it will really help you. I mean, look at this. As this thing was coming down, support, 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 failed, came back up, failed again, rejected as resistance, rejected temporarily. Now it's back above. So we could actually turn this, I mean, I could rename this support if I wanted to, but I'll just name it resistance support. So this is your line in the sand. As long as price is above this, then you're good to take a long. That's the way I look at it. And then this will be your kind of short-term major downtrend line that you need to get above. So let's just say it does something like this, rejection, squeeze, pump, something like that. Okay, so I need to make sure that I've covered everything for you before I end this video. For engineering robo people, pretty simple, really. For HEI, when you got that 30% signal, you still had a buy signal here. What did that? This happened at 1:15 on the 5 minute. Yeah, it happened right there at the very top. So, I mean, I would take time and draw some lines here, resistance areas on a higher time frame. Your win rate's going to be so much bigger. I mean, this is maybe when you get a signal like that, it's not a bad idea to check the 1 minute chart first and see if you're starting to get some rollover. Things were really starting to slow down here. The gap looked really good there. Looked like it was going to hold the 21, and then it failed below it. I don't normally use the 1 minute, but I don't know. It would have been hard not to be faked out by this one, no matter what you were doing, because trying to think how you could have avoided this. Because if you would have FOMO'd in here, where was it at again? It was like right here. If you would have FOMO'd into this thing, even if you drew your line right there, you would have had to gotten out if it got below your line. So that's why having these lines is important. So let's say this. If there are tokens in here, like Dago, for example, actually, I'll look at these for you real quick. But like Dago, for example, Kudus, neither one of these has moved yet. Bass, I've seen it move recently. So first we want to make sure, let's look at Dago and Kudus. I need to see if either one of these are in this one that I use. What's the name of it? Dago. Okay, Dago is on the exchange that I use for margin trading. So let's look at Dago, because this is one that hasn't moved yet. Actually, I want to keep that one like that because this is a really good chart. This HEI chart is really good. I think this would be a very good play, maybe later today or tomorrow. So instead, let's switch this Bless one to Dago. And I use the Dago perpetual contract on Binance usually. This actually looks really good now that I'm looking at it. But first, what I want to do is go to daily, and you can temporarily take off your deals there. You can go to a weekly if it has enough. If it has enough history. So I'm seeing a wick come down here and a rejection right here. So I'm gonna mark that. That's pretty close. And you always want to mark your very top. You want to mark your support areas. I'm just looking for the most wicks that I can connect here. Somewhere in there, maybe. It's kind of trying to break above that area right now, isn't it? And there may be one right in here. I'm looking where these rejection areas were, and then it broke above it really hard and then fell back through it. Okay, so this could be good. Now we're going to jump down to the 5 minute, I think. Yeah. So any of these lines, treat them as resistance first and then as support. Currently, you're hitting the 51. I mean, this thing's kind of choppy. You could wait for a more vertical move. I wonder if this thing's going to reject again, though. It just doesn't look very strong yet, right? And there is you can actually put, anytime you have like a local top like this, just go ahead and put you a resistance area there. Because it could come up here and do this and then come all the way back down. So I think there's a chance it's probably going to come up here or somewhere near here. And for leverage, that's not a bad move. So the way you could play this is you take a long right here, but you put a really tight stop under this wick right there, under this support line. So you want this support line to hold, but you're not sure if it's going to or not. And then you maybe take some profits up here about 170. That's how you would play it. And then for engineering robo, you could also see what it's showing on the 5 minute, or look at the 15 minute on a longer time frame and see what it's showing. Yeah, your 15 minute on the EMAs looks pretty good still. It's holding the 21, but you wouldn't want to see any candles keep closing below there. You got to cross up down here. So this is where it turned bullish way back here. Engineering robo gave you an earlier signal, but that's fine. I mean, you still got in about the same time, even if you're not using engineering robo. But you can see the power of engineering robo too. I mean, it gave you a take profit there. When really you wouldn't have known that a candle was closing below your 21 EMA till way down here. Of course, it may not have given both of these signals on engineering robo until this happened as well. So yeah, I mean, it's not a bad trade. I think it's a little bit sketchy just because you don't know if this line's going to hold or not. You'd rather be buying way down here at the cross if you can. But the main thing to watch for, if you get a signal and then it starts turning around, then we wait for these lines to cross back up on the 5 minute. Let me turn this off. So we got a huge move. I mean, look how it respected this line all the way up. That's perfect. No candle bodies closing on the 5 minute below the white line until here. So you could have jumped in on any of these touches of 21 line, even though this was a short-lived move. And now it comes all the way down, and it's just going to use that 51 and 21 as a rejection. And then when it starts getting back above it, for a certain period of time, then the bottom's in. And this is kind of, I don't like that, how it came all the way back down to the 51, but it is still holding. So it's just been real choppy. Okay. Well, I hope that this was informative for you and that it can make you some money. I really wanted to make this more in-depth video so that you can go back and look at it, see how some of these ideas could play out. I already did a video on how to play on a 5 minute chart, a rejection at the top. But we kind of went over it with Bless, right, just a minute ago. Now, these that happen really, really quick, I don't know what to tell you. Unless you have your support resistance lines drawn ahead of time, you're not going to know where the rejections are, because it can happen really fast like that sometimes when things are volatile. So if you see a huge candle, let's actually see how big this candle was. So this candle was about 60%. I would say if it's over 30% immediately, you know, if it just shoots up over 30%, be very careful and wait for a pullback. That's what I would say. Okay, well, I'm going to end it there. Let me know if y'all have any questions on that. And, you know, for those of you that, I don't know if I'm going to post this public or not, but for those of you that are not in our Discord, that is able to get these alerts, you can get our Discord link below, or Engineering Robo free 7-day free trial below in the description as well, if I decide to post this public. All right, y'all take care.